hey, the music is gone. That's right. See, I don't have the hair to do that anymore. Used to be able to. Anyway, hey, everybody. Welcome to another exciting edition of the weekly Ergo AMA with your host, me. And today, we have none other than Joe's stun double, QX, which I still think stands for Quality Extreme. So welcome back.
Thanks, Dan. It's a pleasure to be here filling in for Joe.
Yeah, stun double. That's what I think of you as.
That's very kind of you. Yeah. Very kind.
Yeah, you're Cliff Booth to Joe's Leonardo DiCaprio.
Cliff, bro, that was such a good movie, wasn't it?
I love that movie. Like, I actually saw it in theaters in Dubai on a layover, and I was like, I had no idea what it was going in, and I was just like, Quentin Tarantino. Okay, cool. Go in there, and I'm like, this is great. This is a great movie. Yeah, I must have watched that movie like 20 times by now. I turn it on at least once a week. Yeah, it's one of his one of his best modern works, I think, probably since like Inglourious Bastards was the last one that I really liked that much. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Even though I love talking movies, this is an Ergo AMA. And so this week, this week has been, just as exciting as last week. We, at Zengate, as I mentioned before, we're finishing up the catalyst proposal for Rosen for staking pool operator incentives that are going to help run Rosen on the Cardano side. And so we're pretty close to probably going to submit it at some point this week and kind of make a bigger announcement on through the Ergo Foundation through the Ergo Foundation account, as well as Zengate explaining exactly what the proposal is and why it is the shiznit, basically. Yeah, it's actually really, really good. Again, the credit for this goes to, on our side to Sam, because he's the mastermind behind this proposal on our side. And put in a lot of time into this. Had this thing for about, I'd say, at least 6 months. Really excited to be finally in the final stretch of actually submitting and showing it to the community, because we're really, really excited about the feedback that we're going to get. And we really think that this is going to be great for the Cardano community as well as for the Ergo community. Right. So aside from that, also, again, been kind of feeling out the fund scene. Again, it's, the market is the market. But we spoke to a few this week, and so just to kind of feel, we're kind of doing it, but we're doing like a 2-part thing, right? We are talking to them on the side of Zengate, but we're also actually, this is coming from one of the members of the Ergo Foundation, and so we're also kind of feeling out which ones are interested, which ones are not interested in investing in the ecosystem as a whole as well, and other projects. So it's just really, it's really exciting to be able to meet with some of these guys, and really kind of exciting to be, really getting a better understanding of exactly how commercially viable, or how, I guess you want to call it blockchain mainstream viable is the ecosystem, and how far we can take, the bigger, more commercially viable projects, which is, what we need in the ecosystem. We have a lot of awesome community products, right? But as we all know, adoption a lot of times is basically is just buzz. It's about going viral with a product. It's about you can have 100 great dApps or platforms in your ecosystem, but if you don't have a really nice kind of delivery vehicle for it to go into the mainstream, unfortunately, sometimes these things just don't reach their full potential. And so this is why we're concentrating on kind of really understanding and really kind of cultivating this ecosystem, so that other projects can also enjoy this ecosystem and create, big, juicy, wonderful, pride of the ecosystem types of platforms. All right. Well, speaking of pride of the ecosystem, I guess
big juicy things. I thought you were
juicy, juicy. Like juicy. Not in not in the literal sense. Maybe in the notorious BAG sense. Lunches, brunches, and reviews by the pool. Considered a fool because I dropped out of high school. That juicy. We have none other than I guess the so what do we call it? The emperor of the Sigmanauts.
You can't call me that. No.
Yeah, the Grand Poobah. I don't know, the Kushti Light. Can we call you that?
I prefer Budget Joe.
Budget Joe. Okay. Joe from Wish.
Yes, that's perfect.
All right. Well, since we got Joe from Wish, how is that going? Because I'm actually really, really interested in that. I'm really excited for this kind of community-driven, like a community-driven movement that is separate from the foundation, because it's actually a lot of the bigger ecosystems are not able to do that. To have kind of a separate group of community, independent from the foundation, independent from the the kingmakers whatnot of the ecosystem, and just to kind of create their own consortium. So how is that going?
It's going, Dan. It's honestly, it's very difficult to convince community members to work for free and to commit some of their time and to hound them. But luckily, I don't feel bad about telling people to get their shit together and give me what they need. So that works out well in that situation, when you can put that empathy aside and be like, just get me this stuff. So all jokes aside, Sigmanauts is going well. It's fun. We have the treasury set up. We've got almost 300 erg in there from donations alone, which is fantastic. And we just started our first kind of marketing partnership where we paired up with Erg1, and they're running a Twitter competition where if you hashtag promote Ergo Summit or Ergoversary or Ergo, you can, depending on how many times it's liked or retweeted per the 2 weeks up into the Ergo Summit, you could win. We donated 100 erg to Erg1, so it'll split it up. I think first place is like 30 or 35, second place is 20 erg, then there's a 10 or 15 erg, and then 6 places of 5 erg each, which, I mean, hey, it's free erg just for tweeting. So that was a fun little thing that we set up with them. So yeah, SIGs are going pretty well. It's a lot of fun. And we're really focused right now on helping organize Ergo Summit. We have a lot of videos coming in that need to be edited, that myself and Andy, who you can't see, is the man behind the curtain in this whole endeavor.
Yeah, he hovers over us.
Yes.
Like a spirit.
Actually, what he does is he's got, we're all on Zoom right now, and he's feeding it through, and his feed is actually his face, and he just makes shit faces to us the entire show. So we have to try to deadpan everything, and he's just going off the wall at us. So it's very, very difficult. I
mean, I literally thought that the middle finger was actually a facial feature of his. So, who knew?
So that's the SIGs. We're doing great. I encourage everybody to join if they want to. As Dan said, it's a fully community run and organized. And now that we have a treasury, once you become a Sigmanaut, you can either be part of that or part of that voting committee where we vote on proposals that we bring forth. It's just a lot of fun overall to actually be allowed to be part of something and drive something. So that's a SIGs. What else is going on? I'm ashamed that I didn't read the developer updates yesterday, but a notable thing that happened was Node, what was it, 5.0.12 came out last week. And the cool thing about that is it enables snapshots, not by default, but you can enable it. And for those of you who don't know what snapshots are, essentially it allows for bootstrapping of the node without having to download all 16 to 20 gigs of the history of the node, whatever the size is now. So essentially you can take a smaller client, let's say a Raspberry Pi or something, or a phone or something like that. And in the future, what it can do is it looks at the nodes and it searches for these snapshots, and it can suck these snapshots off, which are, I think are a couple gigs each, not very big. And it starts literally from that snapshot, which is the working set of the UTXO state. So that enables smaller items like phones, refrigerators, if you saw the Ergo hack the other day, to have these nodes downloaded and distributing the network. So that's really, really cool. And I encourage all of you that if you have the space or you're running a node, to enable that snapshot preference so that we can kind of get those things tested and go on from there. Really cool. What else? There's going to be another DGen. If anybody were with us last week or the week before, I did a fun little thing where I hosted a Grand Gambit giveaway where I had 250 ERG that I was going to blow on Grand Gambit, and I set aside 50 ERG that you guys could give away during that. But in Baseless yesterday, there were some warnings about the terms of service for Twitch and for Twitter and for YouTube. So we're going to find another approach, and we may find another approach to promote Greasy Sex and Grand Gambit next week. But we'll get there, and we'll announce it in the chats. But that was a lot of fun. We started with 250 ERG, Dan. We went down to 100 ERG, and we came back up to 240. So we still have a lot more ERG to try to lose. But that was great. So, yeah, that's all I got, Dan.
You say Greasy Sex?
Greasy CEX.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Central Exchange. Dan, where's your mind? Come on.
That's what I meant. Where's your mind? What did you think I was talking about?
I don't know.
Greasy Sex, light decks. What? Quality Extreme. Listen, we got to talk. We're going to have a talk offline. Our master Andy is going to have a talk with you.
Oh, he's already making faces at me right now.
Yeah, the magician, the Gandalf of this whole thing, Gandalf the White, not Gandalf the Gray, like the advanced Gandalf, that one. I still didn't get it. Well, why did Gandalf, like the White, only remember some of the stuff from Gandalf the Gray? Didn't he see the movie?
Gandalf, he turned into the White, yeah.
Yeah, but he was saying that he did. Anyway, we'll talk about this later.
He was dead forever, right? Wasn't he dead for a while? Doesn't that, I mean, he still was in a human flesh vessel, essentially. So maybe perhaps those memories weren't all, there from the damage that he suffered. I
guess. Anyway.
Yeah. We got any questions yet?
Yeah. So this is actually okay. This is an interesting question. So maybe I actually don't, but I mean, looking. Okay. Anyway, here's a question: do burn tokens like BAS and other get returned into circulation when storage rent activates on certain transactions? That's a good question. Do you know, QX? I mean, does storage rent work on tokens?
Yeah, so I don't know what BAS is doing specifically. If they're claiming they burn tokens, then it is possible to burn tokens, and we know that from some mishaps that have happened early on in the DApp sphere for Ergo. Essentially, people would create a DApp for testing, and some people will use their main wallet, or not their main wallet, but their wallet that had some decent things. And what you can do is you can create a transaction. With UTXO, you have to take all the inputs, everything's an input that's in the box you're spending, and when you do another output, unspent transaction output, some of that will go to where you want it to go, and some of it will go back to a new box. Okay. So what happened in these DApps for testing is they forgot to account for any other tokens but ERG, the coin. So you essentially create a transaction and you forget to include anything that's going back into your box. So when you're spending a box, all those tokens just go away and they don't make it into the new UTXO in your box or the box that you're spending to somebody else. So that is a way to burn Ergo on tokens on Ergo, essentially. So yes, it is possible. I don't know what BAS is doing, but the answer is no. Those tokens don't exist in a box. So from my knowledge, since those tokens don't exist in a box, storage rent cannot get those tokens. So once they're burnt, they're burnt for good. Now, if somebody's doing something else, like let's say greasy CEX comes along, Dan, greasy sex comes along, and they have a burning method, and they maybe want to try something different. So, or let's take Lewis's demirage. How do you say that word, Dan? Demirage storage rent. It's what Lewis calls demirage storage rent. Let's say he makes a token, and part of his
demirage.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. What they used to pay for having storage on ships back in the old days. So let's say he makes a token, and the whole point of he loves storage rent. So let's say his burning means that he takes anything that you submit and sticks it into a smart contract that has no erg in it or a small amount of erg in it, and just sits there and nobody can take from it. So that would be a cool instance where, yes, miners would be able to take from those boxes in the future if they didn't have enough erg in them. And you're not technically burning them in that case, but you are putting them in a location where your smart contract is set to false, where nobody can spend it essentially, except for storage rent pulling it out in the future. So yeah, there's two paths there. I don't know what Bass is doing there, but if they're really, really burnt, then they don't exist in a UTXO anywhere, and you can't get them.
So unless they're burned, they will live rent free.
Well, they don't exist. You can't spend them. If they're burnt, they can't spend them. They don't exist, essentially.
Yeah, but don't screw it up, man. Just don't screw it up, okay? There's
no such thing as free rent on Ergo, Dan. Nothing. No such thing.
Like if I'm Walter Matthau, you make a terrible Jack Lemmon, like terrible.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. It's like Jack Lemmon from Wish or something. Anyway. Let's see. Do we have right? So, well, listen. Actually, so what I wanted to ask you, I have a question. All right.
Yeah, I can't wait, Dan.
You can't? Like, how long can you wait? Tick tock. Anyway, so. Look, I am really interested in what you're doing, right, with the Sigmanauts. So, like, what does your, I guess, roadmap look like? I mean, I understand it's difficult to do stuff and without too much budget. But I mean, what does it look like? What does the roadmap look like? Where are you going with it? What are your contingency plans? I mean, what does it look like?
That's a really tough question, Dan.
Okay. What color is your couch?
This one is gray, and then we have another greenish gray one right there. It's my hand. And then over there's another green one right there.
Can't see it.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyway, and your mom wasn't there today either.
My mom's dead, Dan, but thanks.
Well, wait a second. The lady that was there last time.
That's my mother-in-law, Dan.
Well, your mother-in-law. Okay.
No, it's okay. Let's bring up a painful past, Dan. You want me to cry in front of everybody?
Just
I'm an asshole. It's fine, Dan.
Awkward.
All right, let me answer your question.
Thanks. Thanks for making it awkward. Anyway, listen, I really, really want to know what is the well, that's not your mother-in-law. Like, what does it look like? I mean, what do you how do you see this playing out?
So my method right now is early on. I think we tried to make a roadmap. We tried to make, okay, this is what we need. This is where we're going for. And it was very, very difficult because, as I said earlier, it's insanely hard to recruit, and it's insane. Who you recruit is 100% lucky and by chance who come up. So their skill sets. So you could be, you could have a roadmap where, say, we need a treasury, we need a social committee, and we need a, some other committee. And that's not who's coming across the line and wanting to be in the Sigmanauts. So you end up feeling like you're failing and you're not filling these holes and you're not going anywhere. So I find it's easier in this situation. And what I've been doing is just to play to people's strengths and play to the needs of the ecosystem in the moment. Because right now, as we all know, we're in a pretty heavy bear, and whoever we can get is fantastic. And the people that are sticking around are usually pretty passionate, but it's very, very few people that really want to be involved. For example, we built an on-chain voting system, and we're lucky out of 52 SIGs, we're lucky if we get 10 people to vote on the proposal. So when we first started off, we had a quorum of 10 required, and we moved our voting procedure instead because it was very difficult to get that. We moved our quorum instead to, if it has 100% yeses and 0 nos, then it's passed. If it has even 1 no, then we stop it and we speak about it in the meeting. You bring up your points, and then we do an in-person vote at the meetings, kind of thing. So we had to be flexible in that aspect of it. So yeah, what we're focusing on right now, and what I tend to do is keep us alive, essentially, in the bear market. So that means that keep the SIGs going, build up a foundation. We have our SIGs mission statement. We're building up the treasury, getting that started, so that when the bull market comes, when more people come on, we have a nice structure to say, oh, we just got 50 new people, in one shot, 1 month. These people have been active for a month. They're not going away. Let's see if we can really form a true marketing division. And then you guys can just take that, as opposed to me trying to push all that kind of stuff. And we can go there. So that's really how I have to play it in this circumstance. Otherwise, it's going to be filled with month after month of disappointment, because, the committee you just filled with 4 people, one of them's still kicking around because it's the bear market and people come and go real quick, or just go dormant for 3 or 4 months, kind of thing. So really that's kind of the philosophy I'm going at, but it seems to be doing okay. It takes a lot of effort on my part. I don't want to toot my horn. I'm not trying to toot my horn. It does take a lot of effort to put that fortitude and energy into it to keep people moving, but it's fine. I'm passionate about Ergo. I believe in it. I know what it's capable of. So, yeah.
Very interesting. I mean, no need to toot your own horn, but, there was a lot of horn tooting. Anyway, let's not toot our horns just yet. But
no horn tooting, Dan.
Really exciting stuff. I mean, now is the time that separates men from the boys and women from the girls, and inanimate objects from stronger inanimate objects. Anyway, so this actually is a good time to kind of get the feel for who really is serious about it and who's kind of coming around just because of the bull run.
You're totally right. And that leads to, as I said earlier, that the people that are sticking around right now are usually a little more technically inclined, or they're very passionate about the project. So I think, honestly, it's the perfect group of people that we're working with in the SIGs to build this structure, to build a structure of a treasury, to build a structure of marketing, to outreach, community development, all that kind of stuff. It's a perfect blend. If this were going to start in the middle of a bull market, I'd have a different perspective in that, you'd get a lot of people that weren't deeply passionate about it and maybe just hear price chasing and that kind of thing. And I don't think those are the kind of people that you want building the structure of one of these community things. So I think we're in the perfect time to build this up and set the framework and lay the groundwork for, what's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a strong believer. Well, I don't know if everybody that stays around during the bear market is necessarily technically inclined.
Passionate, I'd say.
But passionate. Yeah. I mean, I talked to quite a few people on social media and whatnot, and I mean, some people are technical, some people are just passionate about the mission and passionate about the ecosystem, and that's cool. It's what it's about. But I mean, especially those people, if they're still around, those people are definitely the real deal. So the filtering is a lot easier now. I think it's more difficult to pull this stuff off. Just like anything, just like what we're doing it's in a bull market, it would have been like funded up to here and everything. But it's difficult. We're in a bear market. We are talking to all these people, and we get a lot of interested parties, but people are still trying to mitigate risk. So it's like, well, yeah, this is great. So if you get other people to come in, we'll come in too. We hear this a lot. But where the bill doesn't stop. Right now, things are being built, right now. Well, I mean, not right now, because it's a little early. No, actually it's not early. We got LDG and and MG Pi working on the winter protocol, the traceability protocol for Palmyra, which is going to be run on Ergo.
They're also working on Lilium, I think, right? That's MG Pi and LG, or just MG Pi? I thought it was both of them.
Well, both of them are working with us. So you're saying that they're cheating on?
I think they're cheating. They're working on a project called Lilium, which is essentially some sort of NFT minting or collection kind of thing based off of EIP34. If I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken, but I'm looking at their Discord right now. You're gonna have to talk to them, Dan. You might have to do like one of those time tracking sheets where they're writing down their efforts.
No, we're definitely gonna have to have a talk. Yeah, not cool, guys. Not cool. Well, look, bottom line here is that it's tough to build right now, but you build tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tough to build, but you build stuff tough. So once the bull market comes around and you get this swarm of new people come in pretending like they've been here all along and throwing money around and whatever, making a lot of noise, because you built in the bear market and the bull market, you're gonna be king, because you got this great runway up until that. So yeah, that's why we chose to build in the bear market. And that's why I think it's good that you're building in the bear market. That's, Ergo was born in the bear market. So yeah, bear markets are for building. All right.
Well said, Dan. As our buddy CW would say. Well said. Well said. I can't do his accent. Well said, buddy.
I can't either. Don't do it, man.
I wonder if CW is sleeping. Let's look at Twitter while you look at the next question. Let's see if he's got it.
He's 2 hours ahead of me, and it's 10:33 right now. So I would say maybe not, but I don't know how coherent he is. Oh, hey. LDG is telling me that, hey, we started that in February, but it's still no excuse to cheat on me. Okay, you could have broken it off. All right, we're gonna talk about
maybe LGD thought it was an open relationship. Dan, you got to be clear about those things at the start.
Yeah, Luca, we're gonna have to talk about this, man. This is I feel kind of dirty now. I do. I'll be right back. I got to go take a shower. Anyway. All right. So, okay. Well, so, okay. So we got a couple of questions about the bull market. Yeah. Luca is cheating on me with 2 other projects. Not cool, man. Not cool.
Well, how do you think Deco feels, man? Deco's like the original girlfriend that he never calls again. Poor Deco, and Luca doesn't even pay attention.
So basically, you're saying I'm like the side mistress to the mistress.
Yeah, you got it. You're like a couple levels of Inception there.
It's messed up. That is messed up.
That's what happens.
Listen. We have okay. So we got a couple of questions here about. Well, we got one saying, "Hey, when is the bull market going to come back?" It'll be back when it's damn well and ready. But here's actually a kind of an interesting question to touch on. Do you think it's foolish to assume that there will always be another bull market? No. I mean, that's how economy works. It goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. It's not about, is there going to be another bull market? Yes. Is it going to be exactly like the last bull market? No. Was the last bull market the same as the bull market before? No. So, yeah, and the reason why I wanted to kind of pick this is because you got a lot of these, bear market blues on, that you come across, and it's like, oh yeah, well, there's never going to be a bear market, man. This bear market is brutal. This is it's like it's a bear market. I mean, it sucks in its own way, but the last one was also pretty shitty. I mean, bull markets are never fun. And maybe for some people, it's their first bear market. It's the first bear market, and they feel like, oh my God, it's like the never-ending winter. It is kind of annoying, but it's nothing. It's nothing where I'm thinking, oh my God, it's over. It's like, oh my God, there's just we're done. We have to change. We have to pivot away from this whole funny internet money thing. it just, it comes and it goes. So I guess the point here is that, yes, there will be another bull market. Yes, it's coming. Yes, it's coming pretty soon, I think, personally. Is it going to be like the last one? No. And what I think that the more we mature as an industry, the less extreme these bull markets get, they're going to be a little bit more, a little less volatile, I don't know if you're going to, 10 years from now, you're still going to have to watch all your assets dump 85% from all-time high or 95% from all-time high. Maybe, but I don't think so. I think in 10 years, the market will mature enough so that we have similar volatility to the stock market. It's of course, it's a different type of market, but as far as volatility goes, I think it's not going to be not as extreme. Of course, there's still going to be opportunities to really kind of do well for yourself and to come in on projects that are going to moon, but it's not going to be like every single thing. It's not going to be like, I remember actually when I was still working and actually in the same office we're working at right now with Zengate back in 2016 when we just we're like a year and a half away from launching Cardano. I remember working in this office. So we had an office which Sam and I share now, and there's also like a big share space that sometimes it would work at because sometimes you just kind of feel cooked up in the office. So you just kind of want to be around other people, and so I remember. This guy was driving me crazy because he was selling Bitcoin on the phone and just kept pacing back and forth behind me. And I just kept listening to him trying to sell Bitcoin. In 2016, I remember he was selling it for like 60,000 yen, which is about $500 a Bitcoin. Right now, what is Bitcoin at in the bear market? It's about 30 grand today, right? Are we going to see an asset like Bitcoin do that again? No, I don't think so. Anything can happen, but I don't think so. I don't think it's going to start, it's going to go another, 100x like it did, right? From that time that the guy was selling the Bitcoin behind me. I don't think it's going to go there, but other assets might. And so there's always going to be fun, but it's going to be bigger and just a different animal. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I think even more specifically, what our guest is maybe asking too is a bull market for crypto specifically, with all these, essentially fights that are coming in from the SEC and all those external pressures. Yeah, I definitely think that it's safe to say that, as you said, we go in cycles, which is, if you look back at all the charts for the beginning of time, we have that. What I'm interested to see, though, is how, I agree with you, Dan, that I don't think we're going to see as huge of a swings in the future as crypto matures. But if crypto stays true to its form and, is able to sit a little bit more unregulated as opposed to the stock market, then I think, there's always that opportunity to do things like right now in the US, I believe wash trading is legal in crypto. So on December 30th, you can sell everything you want to at a loss and then buy back and realize that loss essentially. And it's not illegal as opposed to stocks. Maybe don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure that's the case. So, you see a bunch of dips that maybe have to do with that, with people buying back in slowly and not all at once after that. So yeah, I think it's safe to say the bull market's going to return. Dan actually knows when it's going to return. He told me before the video started. I just don't want to announce it fully on show, but but I can understand, a lot of things you hear people throw around during these times are, well, you shouldn't have invested what you can't afford to lose. I understand that sentiment, but I feel like everything I invest as an opportunity cost to go somewhere else. So everything I invest, I can't afford to lose because I could have invested it somewhere else and made some gains on it. So it's very difficult, and it takes a lot of endurance to sit through these bear markets. If this is your first time, you'll be sitting there, you'll see your investment that maybe it started out at $10,000 and now it's worth, $2,000. And it's really tough not to just lose that stamina and lose that state of mind and forget why you came here in the first place, and pull out and pad the pockets of those people who are buying it low again and ready for the swing up again. It is a cycle. Look at the charts, look at the historic data of everything, every market, and it's going to come back up. You just got to have the endurance, the mindset, the discipline, and that's the difference between people who, get done and just sell in these times and then buy back in at 3/4 high again right before the tip and ride it down to the bottom again. That's how everybody else makes money off those people. It's just how it works.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I could go on about this all day long, and sometimes
it's depressing. Let's talk about something happy, Dan.
Right. Let's talk about something happy. How is your guitar?
My guitar is great. It's right here. You can see it. Yeah. Here, I'll pull it out while you pull up the next question, Dan.
All right. That didn't sound right. Anyway, okay, that's a nice question. So, okay, you take this one, Mr. Sigmanaut, Papa. All right. What part of the Ergoversary are you most excited about?
Well, I think there are some surprises coming in the Ergoversary that I've been told to shush about that I don't even know about. So I'm excited about what I don't know. And I'm curating a lot of the videos with Andy. So if there's stuff I don't know that's to be excited about, I'm excited about. So beyond that, I am really excited about that. This Ergo Summit is a lot of community members coming together. We have Cafe, we have Pulsars, we have Frosty, we have, goodness, where's my list here? Can I pull that list up fast enough without taking too much time? Yes, there we go. We have Kill It With Coffee. We have Austin, you see from chats. We have Alexis and Marty. We have Noah. We have Aberg, actually. So I got Aberg to volunteer to do a wallet video under the grounds that he would write the script and we'd do a video of him doing it, and my wife would read the script with her nice voice. So that's really cool that Aberg's participating. Oh, Dan, stop it. That's exactly why he doesn't want to speak.
Sorry. I thought I was on mute. Okay, yeah, go ahead. No, I didn't mean that at all.
So I think what I'm most excited about is that this Ergo Summit, Kushti challenged the Sigmanauts to participate, and people are coming through and they're participating and producing videos on, a lot of times the Ergo Summit the last Ergo Summit was very technical. And I think this Ergo Summit is going to reach a lot more people in the medium technical level where they can listen and adjust it without having to look things up on the Ergo Docs or Wikipedia or that kind of thing. So it's going to reach, I think, more general audience of people involved in crypto. Yeah, so this is my guitar. I had actually custom made. It's made by a guitar maker that's local to me. It's very cool. Dan, I want you to sing for us. Go for it.
QX talking in the dead of the night, thinking about Sigmanauts and stuff. It's so tough to do stuff in a bear market, but it's stuff, blah, blah. I'm running out of lyrics, man.
That is a treat for everybody, Dan. Thank you.
Yeah. It is. I will be back on stage at 4 and 7. All right. Yes, dear God, indeed, Jume. Yeah, this is the reaction that we got to that.
We lost a viewer because of that. We're down to
yeah. I think we're down one Ergonaut. Yeah. Okay, everybody, we have an opening. We have an opening for Ergonaut on level 2. All right. Okay. So
Just a reminder to everybody that's new. Ergo used to have the main channel used to have Metal Fridays, was it, Dan? Where you would, I mean, and it happens once in a while when Mex is in the chat, but or MX, there used to be a people would post metal videos all the time. Well, it was a slow Friday night. So music runs deep in the Ergo family and ecosystem.
yeah,
I just wanted to make that point.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I was actually just speak. Well, it's not metal, but it is hard-ish rock. I was I'm a big fan of The Offspring, and I don't know if you are or not, or if you're familiar.
Familiar.
Well, I don't know. You make it so freaking awkward, man. I just looked it up, and Noodles is 60, and Dexter Holland is like 57. What the fuck? Like, what is that? Why? Damn it! No, they're in their they're in their late 20s and early 30s forever, ever. God, they kind of depressed me the other day, but I'm like, oh yeah, but I'm 45, so that makes sense, because they were they were in their 20s and early 30s when I was in high school, so yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, and then of course I look at I look at Metallica, and just yeah. I mean, yeah, I joined the Metallica club back in the 90s when they were in their 30s. And so, I'm still kind of like, I look at James Hetfield and I'm just like, damn it, dude, stop getting old. Like, stop it.
The tough part is when watching movies when you were a kid and seeing actors your age in the movies, and then you see them pop up in the public once in a while, and you're like, damn, they're old. And you're like, damn, they're my age. Shit.
Yeah.
It's a tough realization.
I was watching a movie, one of my favorite movies, the other day, and actually, yeah. Well, I mean, it's obvious, but yeah, I'm a big fan of Rocky, and so I was watching something like Rocky 3, maybe Rocky 4, right? And I was just checking it out, and then I was seeing like how old Carl Weathers was in Rocky 4, and he was younger than me. Like, oh shit, like no. And then you look at and I look at Carl Weathers in The Mandalorian, and I'm like, oh man, why am I this old now? Anyway, let's me and Quality Extreme can talk about being old all day long. Megadeth or Metallica? Okay, so Megadeth select albums, right? Select albums of Megadeth. Metallica, I would say everything up to Load, including Load. I like Load, but everything leading up to Load. After that, I like it, but Saint Anger and all those guys, like, I don't know. Garage Inc. was a pretty good record. After that, I just kind of, it just does it. I'm not feeling it as much, but I mean, I'm glad they're still around, and I still do enjoy their music. But the periods that I enjoy are 80s and 90s Metallica. Megadeth, yeah. I mean, I like myself a little Symphony of Destruction. Always good. Angry Again, great stuff. And actually, Marty Friedman is a fellow expat in Japan. He's been living here for over 20 years now, I think.
Way to dox him, Dan.
Yeah. What, Marty Friedman, the guitarist from Megadeth?
Oh, sorry. You said Friedman. I didn't catch the last name.
Yeah, Marty Friedman, the guitarist from Megadeth.
I'm sorry. I was half listening to you, Dan. I zoned out. You got to give me a break.
Look, just put down the whiskey bottle, okay?
Luke's got a good question we can try to answer.
Yeah.
The first question.
Yeah, thanks for making it awkward yet again, Joe from Wish. All right. Let's see who's got a good question.
The first one, does Ergo work like Bitcoin? I think we should try to talk about that with our limited tech background.
Let's see. Okay. You know what? Yeah, that is a good question. Why don't you take that one? So the question is from Luke Graysmith: does Ergo work like Bitcoin in that it always chooses the chain with the most work? If the internet fragments, there will be multiple chains and only one will be legit. So basically, yeah, how does it work?
So Ergo works like the essentially, in short and stupid terms, the longest chain. So if you have block discoveries between two mining nodes and one solves that a bit before the other one, then it's that one who has it was chosen first, and if it has successive blocks and then the reporting it has more blocks, yes, it's that's the way that works. But you're speaking about a fragmented internet, which essentially, let's take China, right, where they firewall everything behind them, and potentially they would block node communications between nodes and mining nodes in the US or Europe versus in China. So you would have these kind of chains that worked in duality here. And when the issue with that is, and this is verging on how 51% attacks work, and I can explain that real quickly. So let's say you have two places that are discovering blocks. Okay, the way 51% attack works is somebody gets a ton of the hash rate. Okay, 51%, or it doesn't even have to be 51%. They start mining and making blocks and discovering blocks like crazy, but they hide that from the rest of the network, just like they're speaking about fragmented internet. So they hide that. And in the meantime, that other chain is making their chain, and they seem to be the fastest at making it, or they're discovering it fast, and they're building up. Okay. So then the people hiding their chain goes over to this chain that's the legit chain and spends all of the money, cashes it out. Okay. And then what happens is they reveal their chain, which is a lot longer than the public chain that's been out there. And all of a sudden that chain is now the chain because it has more blocks. It's an older chain. And so that's taken. Now that money that they cashed out vanishes into thin air. So now they have what they cashed out, and they still have that because they had it on their old chain that is now the main chain, as opposed to the chain that was being visible to everybody. So those kind of things can happen in those fragmented internet situations. And my initial knee-jerk reaction to that kind of thing is, if we get something where nodes are not allowed to talk to each other somehow in different states or different countries, and we're really on completely separate networks where there's no communication between the two, honestly, my knee-jerk reaction to that is something like roll-ups could be present. So the majority of countries that are unified and the chain can operate in successfully and be well distributed in is where the main chain lives. You can have essentially fragments or layer twos of these chains living in other places, and you can roll up transactions through whatever is able to get out at that time. As we know, it's impossible to completely firewall off everything as far as my knowledge goes. So there's always that chance, well, the main people trying to run nodes in a country, the normal people might not be able to get out. There may be some sort of roll-up system that will be able to roll up to the main chain beyond that. So I think crypto will find a way if that ever happens. I don't think that would stop us or anything like that. But that's my not limited tech background, but my, semi professional opinion there.
Yeah, they see me rolling up, but they be hating.
They be hating, Dan. Hating.
Yeah, hating. All right, we got time for one quick one. So here's a good question from Amoeba. How is the snapshot for 5.0.12 stored? How is it stored?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't know if I know it's an extra. You can hear my dogs barking. Puppies, stop. I got family visiting, so they're going to bark for a second. Forgive me. So the way that snapshots work in like operating systems and virtual machines, I imagine it behaves similarly to where it actually takes a snapshot of the database and stores it for easy downloading as far as that goes. The thing that takes a lot of time is literally when you're syncing a node is to ping that damn database for every single data entry that you're pulling off. And that takes time. A snapshot, from my experience with VMs, again, I can't really speak to 5.12, how Kushti or the team did it, but it packages it up and makes it a little easier to pull down as far as that goes. So you're not dragging from the database with every single query. You're actually just pulling a package down and adding it to your database back there. That's how it works in other forms of things. So that would be my guess. I can't promise that. But once again, as Kushti said, I think the working UTXO set is only a couple gigs. So that's absolutely amazing that a light client can go out and grab that couple gigs, start up a node within, I think he said 20 minutes was his record bootstrap, which is absolutely crazy. And I started a node on a really, really fast machine with, gigabit internet fiber, and it took, I think it took 26 hours, which I thought was really fast compared to a couple days, which it usually takes. So this 20-minute bootstrap is absolutely amazing with 5.012. So really cool. Looking forward to Nip House.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we so we had a good question from Luke, but Luke is also talking a little bit about some doomish stuff. If World
Luke
War
didn't have his
breaks,
coffee today, I don't think.
Yeah, if World War III breaks out, and it's like, you know what? I'll tell you. I grew up in the 80s in the Soviet Union during the Cold War. This ain't shit. Okay, we had regular air raid drills. So this is the same stuff they used to do back in the 50s, I guess, in the U.S. We did this in the 80s. The siren would sound like the air raid siren, the ones that were still left over from World War II, like scary as shit. Okay, because they would sound it for other stuff too, so you didn't know that if the Americans are going to blow us up, then that's why it's going on, or they're just testing it. So they'd sound the air raid siren. Okay. We'd have to I forgot, I think we had to do the whole crawling under the table thing or something like that. And then we had to go get in single file and go down to the nearest fallout shelter, which was the subway usually. So we basically had to go down to the subway and chill out at the subway for whatever, 20, 30 minutes. Yeah. So that was a little bit traumatic to my childhood. I was scared shitless of the U.S. The U.S. is gonna nuke us, and so were a lot of other people in the Soviet Union. Yeah, especially when after this, the Politburo allowed this movie to be shown the day after. And I mean, some of the older peeps might know what I'm talking about with Steven Gutenberg from like 1983, and it's about like World War III and how there's like a nuclear war and all this stuff. Depressing as all hell, but it scared the living bejesus out of me when I was a kid because they showed it to us. And then after that, every single time I would hear a plane overhead, every single time I'd hear a siren, I thought it was going to be like the end of the world. Like literally, we're going to, it's the end of the world. The nukes are coming. That's it. Yeah. So yeah, this stuff right now, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I mean, not whatever. I mean, it's not cool, but we were way closer to, going full out like end of the world level shit back in the 80s. There's actually, and you might have seen this on the internet, but there was actually a Soviet commander that was manning the silos back in, I think, 84, 85. And he got what later turned out to be a false identification.
Save the world. Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think his name was Leonid something. Anyway, yeah, he got because I guess what is the satellite mistook a reflection from somewhere for a missile strike, and so the Soviet equipment was telling him that there are five missiles, five ICBM missiles heading towards the USSR. And he actually also, I think he received command from high command to strike, and he refused. So he did not push the button, and literally saved millions of lives by this. And later it turned out to be a false alarm. But if he would have just acted like, listened and just basically did what his commanders would have done, we might have still be here, but we would have been talking about how back in the 80s there was this mini nuclear war, and this area over there in Europe and the US that you don't really want to go to right now. That's what it happened from. So yeah, there was quite a lot of crazy shit that happened.
Stanislav Petrov.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, don't listen, guys. After you live through a bunch of shit like we did, you can't help but to be an optimist. Like,
that's for sure.
Right now. Yeah.
There's one more thing at the end I want to talk about. The big 3D FPV has that little statement about exchange listings on universities. So that's a really cool thing that, if you were in chat a couple days ago, maybe it wasn't. Maybe I said it in the SIGs chat only. The private chat, the exclusive SIGs private chat, invite only. I work at a university, and one of the things I'm trying to do is find great ways to integrate the useful ways and ways that make sense to integrate crypto into the blockchain into your everyday kind of life, as far as that goes. That would be handy. And there's a couple methods that I've identified that would benefit my shop and what I do that I'm not going to speak about in detail at this point, but there are a couple methods that would wildly benefit what I do at my university. And I'm hopefully working to try to implement that. And when it's done, we'll showcase it. We'll show everybody how cool it is. But in short, in a general sense, that question, yes, I think once that bucket is tipped, you're going to see these. You're going to see this stuff everywhere, man. I mean, it's going to be like you're going to go somewhere and you're going to be like, "Oh, how do you want to pay?" And you're like, "Oh, but just my mobile wallet," kind of thing. It's inevitable as far as that goes. And I say it time and time and time again. Especially because I'm experiencing this right now with my wedding that I'm preparing for in Peru. We're trying to pay the vendor, trying to get the vendor money, and the amount of pain in the ass it is to get US dollars down to Peru it makes me want to rip my hair out. It so many times I'm like, can they take ETH? Can they take Bitcoin? I don't give a shit. Just tell me and I'll send it to their wallet, kind of thing. But they're not there yet. And how easy would that be? Just to be able to cross borders, and it doesn't matter, just some general supply of digital currency that everybody accepts and everybody knows, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to deal with some bank that sits on it for 4 days and then charges you a percentage, and then you have to, by the time they do it, the exchange rate is dropped down and you lose $500 in the whole process. It's just insane that this is still such an antiquated system. So yeah.
Yeah. It's it rings really close to home for me, because that's one of the things that we're doing in Sri Lanka right now with Palmyra, is kind of figuring out how to get them paid easier and actually in dollars. Because it's just, well, first of all, the Sri Lankan rupee is really, really weak. And it just they have very limited access to this. But the funny thing is that, kind of innovation if it's something that really is useful, it will kind of trickle through the biggest barriers. We were actually doing a workshop in Sri Lanka and then Kandy, I believe, the Kandy province. And we were talking about payments. And we weren't talking about crypto. We just, we always try to keep utility first and not really talk about, blockchain or crypto payments or any of that stuff too much. It's all about utility. And, if you want to know how it runs under the hood, yeah, sure. Well, we can tell you, but, to the average consumer, that's not really that important. And so we're doing this workshop with tea factory owners. And so we're just talking about payments. Yeah. So we can do, we're going to try to do instant transfers, bank transfers. We're going to try to integrate with a payment rail provider. And one is like, hey, can you guys do BUSD? Like what? Binance USD, Binance USDT. Like, yeah. Like, yeah. And it's like, and then I was like, oh yeah. Me too. I won that too. Like, okay. Like, we didn't even bring it up, but they're like, hey, can you do, BUSDT? Like, yeah, I guess. Yeah, but you guys won that. It's like, oh yeah. Like, okay. So, innovation finds a way. Life found a way in Jurassic Park, but it's not going to be all destructive and eat the lawyer. Although,
well, not for us. I mean, for the traditional finance industry, I'm sure it's going to be destructive.
A big Tyrannosaurus ate our lawyer. Well, I suppose that proves they're really not all bad. Jurassic Park is frightening in the dark. All the dinosaurs are running wild. It's Weird Al. It's yeah.
Oh,
what a funny weekend this has been. That's not the it at all. But it's nice. It's it's like scar tissue and all that stuff. And
nice job, Dan. You recognize it.
Yeah,
we should let him go, Dan.
Yeah. All right,
they've held on long enough.
I mean, yeah. If you want to stay on, we can set up a private call if you want to hear us banter back and forth. But yeah, guys, listen. Thanks for joining. Some great questions today, as usual. It was great to have Joe from Wish as usual. And same time, same channel next week, guys.
See you guys.
So,
thanks so much.
Yeah, from all of us at Ergo, hasta lasagna. Don't get any on ya.